Kim, second time on the tailgate. Actually, it's our third or fourth, but second time filming.
Probably one of the better things about the job, right? It's so real. You can just pull over and do your videos and do your signs right now.
Definitely better weather.
Yes, it was
Yes.
so hot last time.
Anyway,
But I think last time we went over, we just talked mostly about like first time home buyers and their expectations. Um, so what shall we chat
well,
about
we
this
were
week?
just talking about you have a client I spoke to, and I didn't help her out because she was buying a house out of state. But was a move up buyer, and I think we were talking about doing a recast with her
Right.
loan. So how did everything transpire? You said she's getting ready to close on her house down in Florida.
Everything worked out perfectly. She ended up closing on her house in Florida. Once she secured that property, we got her property listed. We listed it on Saturday. It was under contract by Sunday.
Get multiple offers.
We weren't holding off for multiples. We had a price in mind. We got a great offer. It had really good contingencies, had a lot of showings. So we were really, it wasn't just about the money, it was about the contingencies.
No stress.
No stress. So it's going to be a no stress transaction, which is fantastic. So by the time she closes on that house here, she will be ready to be moving into her house.
Right, so she's closed on the one in Florida, and if I remember right, she's going to take proceeds, and I spoke to her lender down there,
Right.
And pay that mortgage down and recast so the payment goes down, right? I like to call it re-amortization, but the technical term is recasting.
Yeah, so she's excited and happy, and even though it was kind of a geared transaction, right? We had to do one thing before we did another thing. All the lenders came together in both states. The agents worked great together, and we managed.
Yeah, I spoke to your out-of-state lender. I mean, agent. She was great.
Yeah, she's fantastic.
Good referral.
So if anybody ever needs an agent in Florida, please let me know. I have a fantastic one. She's located in Ocala.
Okay,
which
cool.
is where the hot springs are.
All right.
It's where everybody wants to be,
Ah, hot springs, cool.
So it's been an interesting week. Just been seeing a lot more activities and showings.
Is that because school's out? I mean, school's back in?
Well, I think that's part of it. The moms that were super busy getting their kids ready and back to school night, now they have time to browse again. If you're going to purchase before the holidays, you've got to catch this window now. So I think we're going to see maybe some good activity for the next couple.
Fall housing market, I've definitely seen this significantly pick up in activities.
Most of the houses seem to be showing really well. I mean, you'll see one or two now that are under market value, and that's because they need some work. But for the most part, it's a good time to buy a house.
Yeah. So the sellers have gotten more realistic about their expectations, listing at the right price, and doing the work to get the houses ready.
Right. That's the key. And so, it's price it right. Price it to sell, not price it for what you think it's worth. Fix it up. Put a little bit of money that you've been neglecting to put in your home. Go ahead and do it now. Check your major things, your roof, your crawl space.
Roofs. That's a big issue with the insurance companies.
Yeah, but I've heard now, correct me if I'm wrong, if you've heard differently, but insurance companies cannot deny you now homeowners insurance because of your roof.
I'm not sure I've heard denials. I just heard some outrageous premiums.
Well, before they were able to deny, which means you couldn't get homeowners insurance. So if you were under contract and shopping for homeowners and your roof had 3 or 4 years left on it, you were struggling to get insurance because of these denials. Now you cannot be denied. Yes, your rate might be higher, but the risk to the insurance company is higher too.
Yeah. I mean, look, we're in a much better situation. I talked to my counterparts in California, and they have a big issue with fire in a lot of the counties. And a lot of the insurance companies left California for regulatory wise, so there's not many choices. And many of them will not insure fire. So the state is the only one that is insuring these houses.
Right.
And they're taking a long time to underwrite. And so most of the California contracts, at least in those counties, and especially Northern California, are subject to availability of fire insurance within a certain time period. And that's like become standard language.
I had a client that was from California, and she was going to list her condo there, and we were already here looking, and the condo went under contract, and the problem became, apparently, because California has so much earthquake activities and aftershocks, there's a particular, permit of construction now, and she needed the proof that her condo was built with that kind of instruction construction, right?
All right.
And how do you prove that when you didn't build the house?
Well, that's interesting, and I bet you that is not so much an insurance issue if this is very recent. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac have changed the condo requirements pretty significantly this month. It's just started.
Right.
A lot of this was, remember back in Sunrise, Florida, where they, oh, thank goodness it didn't spill, where they had the building collapse.
Yes.
And it was a simple maintenance thing. When they did the research, the pool was, I think, above the parking garage or something, and they hadn't been coating the concrete properly. And over years, it deteriorated the concrete. So Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac have gotten a lot more intensive research into the condominiums.
Right.
We're no longer getting limited reviews. It used to be if someone put 10% down, had good credit, we get limited review. Now they're looking very tightly. Now we do have some non-warrantable condo products, but in places like Florida, California, we have a lot of natural disasters, looking at the construction,
Right.
engineering reports
It's
intensely.
important because we don't know what can happen. But I wanted to catch on something you just said. Your non-warrantable condo. That covers many things, not just the construction, correct?
Correct. So where we would hit a lot of them is an investor concentration. Some of the condo associations that may have been FHA approved just never renewed, and we can typically do an individual unit approval for FHA. Some lenders won't go through that, but we've had good luck with that. And I've really learned that from a buddy of mine in San Diego.
Really?
On how to do that. And, but yeah, they look at things like the finances, the reserves, the maintenance, who's behind on dues, like HOA dues. That will impact because they're worried about the association being able to maintain the common areas, obviously impacting value.
Yeah, the reason I ask is Turtle Creek here. I listed a property, and this was several years ago. It went under contract and everything was fine, and we found out they were not warranted by FHA loans. So the deal fell through because we didn't know what.
Should have called me.
Well,
got one of those that's closed recently.
Several years ago. I'm sure things have changed. They just needed to reapply.
There's
time.
still some issues with that,
Right.
but we were able to get through them on that particular project. So anybody looking for Turtle Creek condo, give us a call. Anyway, yeah, it's a popular place.
Right. No, and this, like I said, this was many, many years ago. So I think it had just brought it to their attention that they hadn't renewed, right?
Yes.
They hadn't sold it
yes. And FHA looks at that. And even with new construction, there's some issues. We've been involved in some condo conversions, and those are tougher. And a lot of times we have to get special investor okay on that, depending upon the project. Yes.
It's just amazing how much goes into buying and selling. It is not all about, I got a piece of paper, the lender gave it to me, and we're going shopping. There's so many things that
because it's not just the buyer's approval, credit approval, income, it's also the property.
Right.
And so, and condos have so many more pieces to them.
Seeing a lot more condos coming up, though.
It's an affordability issue.
Yes.
It's definitely an affordability issue and what the builders can put out there product-wise.
Yeah, I feel like condos are really starting to move. I showed condos all last week, and I was surprised at how many in the same complex were available. So we had options, which was great.
And if you're on the listing side there, you've got to be very cognizant of that. And how do you make your unit different than the others?
And that comes down to buyer shopping, really. I mean, that just does. You're always going to go for the end.
Is it the decor? Is it the price? Is it incentives?
I think a lot of it is the price. If you're an inner unit and you've got an end unit that's for sale, if you're comparable properties, you don't want to price the same as the end unit, but the end unit will move quickly. Just have those buyers that looked at that end unit and looked at yours. Make yours presentable. Make it desirable. If only one person can win that one, right?
And we're so not a buyer's market except in cases like that. And I have a client, a different realtor brought to me, and they've got a town, I think it was a condo actually, and this is like a 5-year condo project. So the builder's still building. There are 9 or 11, I forgot, units for sale. And she's like, okay, we have a couple choices. We know this is worth X, but you also want to move. Do you want to wait 6 months to sell, or are we willing to price it aggressively and get it sold and meet your goal? And so that's the kind of things that you have to think about. That's a little bit unusual situation to have new construction and that many resales in the
Yes,
same
in the
project.
same project.
A lot of times we run into having new construction is we're going to have to be able to provide, and this is where the listing agent will contact us, the same financing incentives that the builder is doing.
Yes.
So we can still do the buy downs and have the seller subsidize that. But those are conversations that a good agent's going to have
No,
with
it's definitely, it's been an interesting week. I have shown property everywhere. Good thing I'm licensed in the Commonwealth of Virginia because I feel like I've touched every corner.
How many miles on this to this week?
This week, about 600.
Wow.
I ended up having to run back to Hanover 4 times in one day from South Chesterfield. So that's, some days are like
Yeah.
that. If that's the schedule that you can get, you've got to get in them when you can see them. But it was a productive week. We had some go under contract. Buyers have more choices now. More things are hitting the market.
Still not a buyer's market though. At least I'm not seeing it.
No, it's not a buyer's market. And they're getting there. They're starting to figure it out. It's unfortunate because everybody wants to deal on something, unless you're the seller. And I had that conversation with our client today. She said, I really want a deal. I said, well, then good. When the buyer comes to your house and looks at it and goes, I love your home. I know what you have it priced for, but I want a deal. I need you to remember that. And she went, yeah, I see. I said, the best deals are deals that get worked out mutually.
Yeah.
And everyone walks away comfortably.
Oh.
So it's not a buyer's market, but we're seeing more inventory coming out.
So cool. That is good. Some more choices. But as we go into the fall, we'll see more buyers come out too. So maybe a really good opportunity right now.
Yeah, I feel like the next couple of months are going to be good strong months just because the amount of inventory that we have coming on and the amount that we have going off the market at the same time seems to be a really good balance.
All right, so talking about showing houses to buyers, give us some stories, because I definitely have heard some. Tell me some of your funny, or maybe, I don't want to say horror stories, but some of your funny stories. I know you have some horror ones.
I'm going to tell you one that I've kind of kept in the lockbox for a while, just because when it happened, this happened a very, very long time ago, but when you're an agent and you're 3 or 4 years into the business, you're still getting comfortable because you have to learn things every day. And I had a listing in a very desirable area. It was over a $750,000 price point. The square footage was amazing. The house was just in a great location. However, it was very dated. And I knew that, and we priced accordingly. So I'm setting up for my showing. I'm getting all excited. I'm turning on all the lights. I'm, putting signs out and got my cookies going and threw some cookies in the oven so it smelled, like cookies in the house. And I was surprised at how many people were coming because of the price point. And it ended up being like 4 families in the house at the same time. And I was a little overwhelmed, right? Because 5,000 square feet, some of them are over there, you're over there. You have to end up letting some people just kind of look on their own. And I heard somebody say, excuse me. And I was like, oddly trying to find him in this house. And they were like, do you know it's raining in here? And I was like, what? And they were like, yeah, you have this big leak. And I was like, it was just one of those houses where you just didn't need that to happen. I go in the basement. It was literally a air conditioned problem, and it was dripping from the middle of the floor.
Kind of say, wow.
So I had to figure out how to get everybody out of this home and still let them know it was a great home, even though it had a new water feature in the ceiling.
Waterfall.
And I didn't know at the time, where the water's coming from. So what do? What do you shut off when you don't know where the water's coming from? I ended up calling someone, and they went out to the street and turned the water off.
And they didn't do it because it was a kind of same.
And respectfully, when you're at that price point, you're excited about showing, and you have a full house of people, and then you have a problem like that. Handling it gracefully is hard.
Yeah.
Because it's someone else's home, I want to find out where the water's coming from. And they had this table in the basement, right? It was just like an old table with a piece of plywood on top of it and a couple buckets. And I thought, okay, I'm about 105 pounds. I'm going to stand on the table, right? This is where it actually gets good. So everybody left. I locked the house up. I'm like, okay, calm down, just breathe. But I got to find out where this water's coming from. So I stand on this table and it had like these big paint buckets. And I said, if I stand on the paint bucket, I'll be able to kind of see up there and see what's going on. And I no more stood up there and I looked and I saw like this little pipe and I was like, okay, I think that's it. And the table just broke in the middle and down came 105 pounds of me, like in the middle of this basement with nobody around. Paint was all over me. And I was like, this day was not supposed to end like this. I don't know where this came from, but it was not supposed to end like this. That was my first like shocking. What do you do when somebody else's home?
Yeah.
You know, when something goes south. And that one's always kind of just stayed in the lockbox because that's newer agent, just not familiar with thing mistakes or, but you know,
Can't get much worse.
yeah. Well, I think my strangest showing. I have several investors that I work with quite a bit. And so we build a relationship. We kind of know each other, right?
Yeah.
So we go into a house. We're not strangers. Well, he had called me and said, "Hey, I saw this house. I'm gonna go look at it." And I was, fine, I'll meet you out there. And it was south of the river, and it was a distressed property for sure. And I looked at it, and it looked like a very small ranch, like a the listing said it was 3 bedrooms, like 1 bathroom. And I'm thinking, okay, we'll get out there and take a look because he does a lot of flipping.
Yeah.
Well, when I got there, I always try to get there early. I just noticed like where you would think the crawl space was,
Mm-hmm.
it was painted black and had like newspaper over the little windows, and I was like, I think that house got a basement in it, but I didn't see it on the listing. And we get in and we're looking around, and we check out all the 3 bedrooms and we check out the 1 bathroom. And I said, there's got to be stairs in this house. I said, I think that's a basement. The crawl space wouldn't have windows.
Mm-hmm.
He said, well, Kim, there's no stairs in here. And I said, there's stairs somewhere in this house. And we opened the hall, like, coat closet. And in the older houses, the coat closets are this big,
Right.
right? Because they're for just
Yeah.
coats. Mm-hmm. Opens the door, and if you look back, there's like this black painted wall, and there is a machete. And I'm joking. I'm like, yeah, you grab the machete, let's go down. So he grabs it. We're being funny, right? And I push that black thing, and there's a set of stairs. And we proceeded. Now, sometimes you walk in front, you open the doors for clients. But this time, I said, you've got the machete and you're a man. You're just got to go first. So we go down there and turn on a light, and it had to be the creepiest, strangest, most what the heck happened here kind of place. It was a full basement. It had 3 rooms kind of sectioned off
Did you only access through this closet?
through the closet. And it was not like a knob on the door. So it's like this weird thing you push. So we get down there, and one of the rooms has like this old roll top desk. Now this house has been vacant for a very long time. It's got an old roll top desk, and it's got like a stenographer pad
Mm-hmm.
with people's names and numbers written down. And then there's some scattered papers. The next room is painted all red, and it is soundproof, and there is a lock on the outside of the door. And I'm like, this is totally creepy to me. But it could have been a music studio. It could have been a lot of things. And then there was a hose hanging over a drain in the middle of this floor, and there in the one of the room corner, it looked like there had been livestock where there was hay and stuff. And I stood there and I looked around and I went, look, I've never run out on a client in all my life. You are on your own. I am out of here. Like I bolted. This just
So you never got in that room?
No, it's something, I don't know. People do strange things with their houses. Could have been a music room. They could have washed their dog down
Our
there.
minds are definitely not going
Right?
there.
Like I have no idea, but I'm just thinking, I I know my client, I've known him for years, but I am thinking I am in this black basement, soundproof walls, with a man that has a machete, and I asked to go down here. I'm just backpedaling on my decisions I've made in the last hour. I'm undoing them right now. And he came on out and he was like, yeah, this is not for me. But that was definitely one of the houses where you walk in and you kind of go,
Did you
what the heck?
did you ask the listing agent like what was going
No,
on?
no feedback. Just so you know, I always give feedback on homes so agents can sell homes. No feedback on that one.
Mm.
I was just thankful that we got to see the property. My client decided that it was not something he wanted to purchase, and we moved on. But I was just, that house is always just kind of stuck with me for some reason, trying to figure out what could have been going on. And I'm sure it was nothing. Probably washing their dog and little music studio, and I don't know, but yeah, I'm thinking that had to be the creepiest.
That is pretty wild.
But we've been in some pretty cool houses. All of them are unique. When one of the cool things about going into other people's homes is because everybody lives different. What you might use as a third bedroom, they might be using as a gym. So it's neat to see all the different things that people are doing, with their house. How they change the rooms. Went into a house this week, which was kind of cool. If you didn't need the bedroom, they had turned one of the bedrooms upstairs was a cape. So there's a big bedroom on one side, and then there's a bathroom in the middle. With the bedroom over here, they made into this amazing closet. It was just it was just all closet. It was like a whole bedroom full of stacks of shoes, and it was neat to see that kind of play out. We went and checked out some out in Montpelier. They have some absolutely stunning listings out there.
Yeah, it's beautiful out there. Yeah. Right now.
Yes, especially when you're going to houses that have, grounds and landscaping, and everything's just so beautiful this time of year.
Yeah.
But I think I've managed to escape from every house I've ever been in, and some houses I've stayed a little longer because they were just beautiful and it's a lot to intake. But I think those two houses, I have a third, but sometimes you just,
Oh, come on. You brought it up. You know you want to say it.
well, here's the thing. My clients are cool about it. Full disclosure, sometimes we don't find out till after. I just had some clients that purchased their dream home a couple years ago, and it was a great house. It's a lot of square footage. They got a really good price on it. It had been on the market for a while and couldn't really figure out why, 'cause it's a great house. And then we closed on it, and it's always the neighbor. It's always Miss Kravitz, right?
Kravitz from
Walking down the street from Bewitched. I went over to see them after they closed and brought them a gift, and we're all excited and standing out. They have a driveway, but I did on-street parking. So we're standing out there talking, and Miss Kravitz comes over, and she's like, "Are you the new neighbor?" "Yeah, so nice to meet you. Can I go in and see the house?" And we were all like looking at each other, going, "Okay, that's a totally weird request. Like, no, you can't. It's sold. Like they've already bought it. Well, can I just look over here?" And we were like, "No, not today, but thank you so much for stopping by." And she went on to tell us the story that happened in the house.
Oh.
Yes. And then, of course, immediately me and all my clients were like pulling on our phones, and we Googled the address. And, you know, when you Google most addresses, of course, realtor.com, all these sites pop up, but sometimes you got to scroll under that. And we found out some information. I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know how my clients are going to take this.
Yeah.
Right? I just don't know what their perception is of this information. And they were like, no, it's totally cool. We're absolutely
Like a story.
yeah. So we literally, I see them maybe once a quarter, try to see them at least twice a year. Go up they have a bonfire, and we'll sit there and kind of tell the story.
Are there any disclosure requirements for stuff
No,
like that? Because it's public record, right?
Absolutely not. Here's the thing: when you're looking at a house, the seller's only required to tell you about material defects that they know about, things that have happened in the house, things that happened next door. It's not a material defect of the house,
Right.
so there is no disclosure.
So if those things bother you, Google the street
It's
address.
called do your due diligence, right? And my clients thought they had. They looked up the address. It looked great on Zillow. It looked great on Homes.com. And we probably, had it not been for Miss Kravitz walking by,
Never known.
we probably would have never known. But my clients were absolutely, they were like, Kim, this is our dream home. We've worked so hard to get this. Like,
Uh,
we're not letting anything mess us up for us. So I'm super excited. But yeah, if those things are of concern to you, um, the list agent is not required nor expected to tell you those things because it's not a material defect. And that's part of doing due diligence.
yeah.
And in all fairness, so that people know, you know, buyer's agents are not required to disclose that information because it's not material defect. We cannot tell you what's a good neighborhood, what's a bad neighborhood. We don't know. What your comfort level is may not be our comfort level. So there is, and it happens all the time.
So what if they ask you, would they ask you, what do you think of this neighborhood? Would you have your kid live here? Do you answer questions like that?
Absolutely, but I answer them um, in a way that's just real. Would you live here? Well, I don't need a house right now. So we're not talking about me. This is about you and your family and your comfortability level. What is a good neighborhood? I don't know the answer to that question because everybody's different. Everybody has a different level of what they're comfortable with.
But you will show the benefits, the proximity to school, to shopping, those kinds of things.
Absolutely. If those, if you have children, if that's a question that you want to ask, do your due diligence. Look up the school districts. Are they good schools? Are they highly rated schools for your kid to get a great education? Um, if there's something going on in the neighborhood, we don't always know. There are websites that you can go to and research that
All right.
information. But in all reality, things happen in every neighborhood.
Right. But talking about schools, because I've noticed that there's one neighborhood near my office and there's two elementary schools. I think their scores are all good and everything else. But this side of the street goes to this one, which is probably more walkable. This side goes there.
Right.
And it seems like these houses sell for more.
Um, it may have something to do with that school rating.
No, I think the schools are actually rated, but I think it's a walkability or.
Well, I mean, if you have apples and apples, then you pick the apple that's closest to you, or
Yeah.
just has the more desirable traffic run. I think it's do your due diligence. The agents just cannot delegate to you what is a great neighborhood, what is your comfortability level, what are if you want to know something that happened in the neighborhood 5 years ago, then that's why it specifically says a due diligence period.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I lost my train of thought I was going to ask you. But to me, a lot of times location is as important or more important than the house. What they say the first three rules of real estate. Location, location, location. So really, do you find that, or do some people really want the house? I mean,
No, I feel like location is important, right? It's what is your comfortability level? Is location to you, I want to be way over here with no neighbors, but I want to be able to get to a grocery store in 10 minutes? Or is your comfortability level, I want to be over here and I don't care about neighbors, but I want to walk to the grocery store? So location can be different for all people. It just can. I showed in Montpelier, location, 11 acres, complete privacy, 15 minutes to the grocery store. But that was the perfect location for my clients. Yeah. So it really depends on the individual's need. I think when we say location, most people want to be reasonably close to the school district they want their children to attend. They want to have access to stores, grocery stores, hospitals, places to go and have fun. They don't always want to be sitting on the main highway to do that. So location is important, but it is also unique to every individual.
Yep, makes sense.
So I don't know. I find that during, September, August, last week of August, September, everybody's buying to get in those school districts that they've been trying to get in.
Even though school's already starting.
Yes.
Yep. And that we're seeing that now.
Some people wait too late. I mean, let's be real. We don't always do the things we know we need to do, and we get a goal and we know we have to do steps, but if we miss a step, I'm guilty of waking up going, I'll get to it tomorrow.
All right. So if you've got a client relocating here,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they have kids, don't have kids, how do you direct them to neighborhoods or what they want? How do you feel them out? What are the points that you ask?
That is the beauty of real estate, right? I like to take the time to get to know my clients. I get to know, oddly, I know their dogs because these things are important to them. They tell me about what they do, where they work. How often do you go out to eat? My client said they go out maybe 3 times a year.
Not that relevant.
Right.
Yes.
So they don't want to be in the middle of short pump. But I have some clients, that they want to be able to walk to Dave and Buster's.
Yeah.
So you talk to the client, you get a feel for where they work because you want to get them reasonably close to work. Uh, you ask them about their needs and their lifestyle. Do you want to mow grass? That's a question
Yeah.
I
That's
ask.
a great question.
Right. Because that tells me what style of living's probably going to work for you. What's important? Do you go to the mall every week? Uh, do you drive your kids to school? Do they catch a bus? Those kind of questions. Just what are your needs? If you have pets, you need to be somewhat close to a veterinarian hospital, right? That's important. Pets are children to a lot of people. Um,
And right, they're probably relying on you for those references for the
Right.
vets that you like and doctors and all that kind of
Right.
stuff.
So-
Hair barbers and the hairdressers
yes,
and
things, and especially if they're coming from out of the area. So depending on what they need, the lifestyle that they have lived where they were, the reason they moved here, you add all those together and it'll tell you. And I always say check areas. Don't just say I want to live here because somebody told me it's a great place to live. Check areas that are good fits for
well,
you.
and they're probably people that they work with will ask where they live.
Right.
But really, what's the difference between somebody buying in Short Pump versus Midlothian?
Desirability.
What's more desirable?
Right. Do you want to be
I
north
don't
of the
know.
river, south of the river?
Well, that's that I can answer that question, but
Right.
I mean,
I
I
mean, just growing up on one side versus the other. Both sides are great, but I think a lot of it has to do with where you're from, what you're used to. Chesterfield's got a lot of great houses listed right now. I mean, a lot. I was checking it out this morning, everything that just hit the market, and I was just fascinated by the great houses that are coming up in that area. It's price point for a lot of
yes,
people. It is price point.
is there much of a difference anymore between the two? I know there used to be.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there is.
Let's be honest. North of the river, not always, but because of the location, right, the price points are higher. It's just more competitive. Whereas Chesterfield, South Chesterfield, you get a little bit more land. Here, you can walk to everything, and that's desirable.
There's parts of Chesterfield
Some
same
parts,
way.
but for the most part, it's older established neighborhoods. And they
Yeah.
have a lot of new developments, but older established
Yeah.
neighborhoods, houses that have been taken care of, and it is affordability. It's where do you work?
Like
You know,
commute times.
right? If it doesn't matter if you have $10 million and want to live in Short Pump, if you have to drive all the way to Charles City to work, you're probably going to end up over there.
Yeah.
So there's a lot that goes into it, and always, especially the ones from out of town. Let's talk about the different areas. Don't already have in your head this has to be the one, because there's actually a lot of good areas that might fit you, and it will give you more housing options at different price points.
I'm even seeing a little bit, I guess more than a little bit, of folks moving here that are remote workers just because they think the life is good here and cost of living depends on where you're coming from. Is it high or low? But if they're coming from north of here,
Right.
typically
Well, we
seems
had
to be a
that
lot better.
influx
Yeah.
during COVID, when everybody could work from home. That just was a crazy 2 year period because everybody came here. They were like, we don't want to be on all the congestion when we can come here and work. We're still seeing some of that.
Yeah, we're still seeing it for sure.
People are moving not as close to their jobs, right? If I only have to go there twice a week, I can afford to drive 30 more minutes when I do that. So we are seeing some more people that are kind of moving in this area just because they can. And it's a great area. We have everything to offer. I mean, an hour to the beach, an hour to, Northern Neck, hour to the mountains. We got land, sea, beef, cattle, you name it. We've got it somewhere. I was in Hanover. I've got a listing out there, and I won't disclose the road, but I rode down the road, and this farm I don't think it's a farm. It's just gorgeous. They have in their front yard these incredible beast animals, and they have these huge horns that stick straight out. And I'm fascinated. I'm just weird and I'm fascinated. I Googled, like, what are these things? I have to know. Apparently, in Hanover, we even have Watusi, which
Watusi.
Yeah, I know. My daughter was saying it. She was like, Mom, I think that's not a nice word. And I was like, no, it's like a cow. It's a brand. It's
A type
a
of cow, yeah.
type of steer.
You definitely see them out when you're driving in the back roads of Hanover. Yeah.
So, we've got just about everything.
I know a realtor, you probably know her too, who raises cattle.
Yeah. So, you go to Amelia, beautiful farm area, if you want country living. It's not that far anymore.
No, we're starting to see a lot of people moving out there really for price point, to be honest with you. And we're seeing folks moving in even like, to places like Hopewell for the price point and, Petersburg. And there's a lot of, regentrification going on in those areas.
Hopewell, Petersburg, Ettrick, Patoka, those areas took a big influx of investors when COVID hit and everybody was just kind of gobbling up Richmond. People started spreading out.
Do you work with a lot of people buying property for investment purposes? I know I do, but I don't think I've ever had anybody with you who's buying for investment purposes, not flipping.
I feel like the answer to that is yes, but they seem to be mostly cash buyers.
Yeah. But that's definitely a good place to look. And so they all have different reasons for, wanting to invest and returns.
Well, there's a lot of great houses that were all redone, within the last 3 years down there, complete renovations. So funny thing is, now that we've brought that up, and I don't know if you know this, because I kind of just figured it out not long ago. I had a house listed. In fact, now that I'm thinking about it, it was a client that you and I worked on together. They bought a house and called me and said, did you know that our house street address is listed on the historical documents? And because of this, there's an application that we can fill out and they will help us pay for renovations to keep our home up, because there were certain homes that were built that were model homes in a historic area. And literally this house that I never would have saw that coming, she was just Googling one night to be Googling.
Wow.
And just so you know, it was Don Davies' house. You're right? You wouldn't think that was a totally flipped house, great condition. So yeah, they're on that their house is listed.
Wow.
So those areas provide a lot of avenues for people to keep up with the houses. They don't know about it.
But it's just one thing about Richmond is we do have a lot of historic properties, and there are some headaches, some really cool things. Downtown, Churchill, Fan, all those areas. Some really cool stuff in Petersburg too, right? I mean,
well, Petersburg's very historic. Parts of Hopewell, Richmond especially. There are some areas. I kind of think of them as our land, Chesapeake Bay Protection Act, because you go east and you have the Protection Act there. You come here and you have the Historic Protection Act, the Historic Preservation Act. It's a good thing though. A lot of people want to restore the architecture.
And then the houses are so cool, and the way they restore some of them, and just really, really cool.
Yeah, the rules aren't as strict on the inside.
Yep.
Right? You kind of do what you want to do, but the joy of purchasing one of those homes is that you actually get to preserve that architecture for everyone that walks by it. So a lot of exciting things going on in Richmond.
Yeah, for sure.
One of my favorite places to be, even if it's on the tailgate in the parking lot.
Having your coffee and tea.
Yeah, coffee and tea. Chip, way to go, Chip.
Chip, Chip, right, all right. Long story there.
No, so I think the market's doing a little bit of a turnaround. I think the interest rates are fair. Yes, we want them 2%. It's not going to happen. Buyers are buying. Sellers are being more reasonable. Things are getting worked out, and people are starting to move comfortably again.
And they're off the, I don't want to give up my mortgage, right? Because they're moving because they want the space. They need the space. It's still a good investment. Look, somebody bought a house 5-6 years ago. They have so much equity now in this market. Our market is still appreciating very well around here, unlike other parts of the country.
And, I've had some that have gone under contract, and they have appraised. They're appraising well.
Yeah.
So, some of these houses are.
I don't want to jinx anything, but I haven't had any appraisal issues lately. But I don't want to jinx anything, because watch tomorrow I'll have an issue, right?
Well, that's always how it happens. We're not speaking it into existence. We don't want that to happen. We just want to acknowledge that things seem to be plateaued a little bit.
The realtors I work with usually seem to know if there's going to be an issue with the appraised value. I am definitely seeing contracts where we're getting into multiple offers. There's quite a few, not crazy like it was,
Right.
4, 5, 6 years ago, but that they're waiving appraised value special, or at least over a list price, because they're offering over list is I'm going to guarantee, whatever, I'm paying $30,000 over list. I'm going to,
Right.
I'll
They're
eat
having
that.
some.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
seeing some
And a lot of
ways to raise
times it doesn't
contingencies.
impact their cash into the transaction or the payment much at all. So
Well,
we'll have those
I
conversations.
feel like if you price the house right and you've done the comps, you know what the market is doing in that area. Um, most of them are coming close to appraisal. I mean, because
Yeah.
we're at the
Or,
point,
or
right?
the appraisal coming in at or above. Yeah.
I feel like there's always going to be situations where you have areas or places that are going to get multiple offers. That's and it's hard for a lot of people to understand. You live here and you go, why am I not getting multiple offers? And a lot of that's location.
It's all location.
Right.
There's certain parts near West End. I don't care what the market is. They're
Right.
always.
So the expectation is not every house is going to get multiple offers, no matter how great your house is.
Yeah.
There are a lot of great ones out there, but it is that desirability. And when people need to live there, if they want to, it's one thing. When they need to, they escalate a little bit because they
Yeah.
need to secure that that's
Yeah.
where they're going to be.
Yeah.
But I think for right now, it at least feels like that crazy mad market where just money's just flying around for no apparent reason. I think that's calmed down, and I think we're in a good, steady kind of plateaued market where it's good for the seller, it's good for the buyer. We can make the deals happen. Contingencies are a little easier to work out if you're contingent upon the sale of your home. We used to do those all the time. That used to be how a lot of people bought and sold.
Yeah, I have seen a few first rights. We do have some ways as a lender to alleviate that sale contingency in a lot of cases. It doesn't work every time.
No, but I feel like the lender packages
We've
has
adapted.
allowed us-
We've
yeah.
adapted ourselves to the market.
Right.
Yeah.
And you guys have done a great job because it used to be if you wanted to buy house B, you had to sell house A. That's just how, a lot of people shifted their move. But with the packages like the buy before you sell programs,
Yeah.
it's made it a lot easier for everyone across the board. But again, they're situation specific.
Yeah.
But I think it's a good strong market. I think people are excited to be able to move again. I think a lot of like how much can you be concerned about one thing? At some point, you just get tired of being concerned about the things you can't change.
Right. And look, part of our job is to keep the buyers and sellers focused on why they want to move and not the minutia. It's like everything else, right? What's the reason why you want to move? Why do you want to sell? You want to move closer to grandkids, need more space, less maintenance, more maintenance. I think you get more maintenance is something they want.
And then that's just it. When you go to buy or sell your house, this is about you in your particular situation, not what's going on in your neighborhood, in the world. And this is about you. And when it's time to make a move, that's what we're here for, to get you from point A to point B. I just feel like people are kind of popping up and going, hey, I want to go from A to B now, which is a good thing. It is a very good thing. I think some normalcy and just you can't worry about everything all the time. And I told my client last week, they're like, we're waiting for the right time. I said, you have kids, right? They were like, yeah. I said, did you ever say you were going to wait for the right time to have kids? And they were like, yeah. I said, when did that time come? And they were like, yeah, it didn't. We just ended up having kids. I said, sometimes you can't wait. What is the right time? The right time is when you need it.
Yeah.
You have a goal, you have a desire and a will, and you're willing to put in the work to get from A to B. That's the right time.
Right. And there's always give and take. You're never going to be 100%. It's like everything. And that's what makes things so good is that I had to give something up for this and it was worth it. Right.
Well, odd thing is you have to learn to let some of the things in your arms go before you can open them up to grab something else. And it's not always easy. It's just not. Sometimes it's financial, sometimes it's emotional, but you can never grab a hold of something else if you're hanging on. You just don't have room in your arms. So I think a lot of people are just kind of giving in to the fact that, the economy is what the economy is. We still have to move. We still have to live. We still have to go to work. We still want our kids to play with our neighbors' kids. So we're just going to do it. And I like that. It feels like people are enjoying and living their lives again. Don't wait for the right time. There was no right time to have your first child. There's no right time to need your home. If you need it, you need it. If you're ready for it, just do the steps. And it's getting easier for people to do the steps. They just don't know anymore what the steps are.
Well, that's what we're here for. And
Right.
people a lot of times are scared to talk to me. Yeah, it's kind of like, the banker, yeah, I won't consider myself a banker, but they think that.
Right.
And honestly, my job, yeah, I need to provide them advice and counsel and all that. But the hardest part is finding the right house. And that's where they should be spending most of their time.
That's excited. We get to go shopping. I get to take you shopping all day and let you look at everything that you've dreamed of. I do think the fear is the lender, but the lender is a real human like everybody else. He goes to work, and his goal every day is to help people acquire these loans. He doesn't sit in there and just like X things off a sheet. That's not how it works. They literally try to set a plan and work with you and get you where you need to be comfortably to make the move so that you can come shopping with me.
We want to do that. We don't want to say no.
Yeah, it's not like you're some humbug in the office just like putting the
advisor over them, right?
And you work really hard at it. All of my clients that work with you have great things to say about you. And that's why we continue to work together, because you do want people to win.
Say it a little louder, right?
Yeah, thanks. Right. He's fantastic. Paul does a really good job. He cares about his clients. And I'm not just saying this because we're talking. We're talking because we're friends, and we're friends because we met in this business, and we both have the desire to help people get what they need. So I think you do a really good job of making people feel comfortable and letting them know, your credit, your money, these things are not, you're not the only person in the world that has these problems. We all do. We all do. People are so worried that someone's going to judge them or think badly about them. Look, that's called economy, right? We live in a world where we buy things, we spend our money, we work for it. There's no shame in the game. You just got to show your cards so we know how to set your hand to get to where you got to go.
That's it. Good. All right.
You drank all your coffee?
I drank all my coffee. I am good. So, all right. And you have not drank all your tea.
No, I never did. I'll put it in the back. Believe it or not, I am one of those people that will leave this in my car tomorrow, and I will finish it.
And you finish it, it'll be nice and hot. And...
It doesn't matter if I opened it. I will drink it.
All I can think about those kids finding those McNuggets in the seats from 6 weeks ago, and they eat them and don't get sick.
Here's the thing. I feel like when you've been doing something for so long, that just becomes you and part of you, and your body gets used to it. Like all the things, right? So yes, I will open a drink and I will finish a drink. Not so much food. Like if I don't eat it, I'm probably not going to eat it. And there not be chicken nuggets in my car.
They say that they're just as good. They look just as good. I don't know what that says about things.
Yeah, well, I feel like we're talking about McDonald's nuggets. I think they last for like 12 years. I really think it's like the dirt.
What is the shelf life of a Twinkie? I always told us about 30 or 40 years. I don't know if that's true or not.
I feel like, didn't they used to put Twinkies in like the Army's, the
MREs?
Yeah. What is it?
Meals ready to eat, yeah.
I feel like because they used to put Hershey bars in there. I know that for a fact. I think they put Twinkies in there because the stuff does not, it's not real food. It never goes bad, but it makes you feel like you're not hungry. Might as well put a bag of rocks in there. But I feel like chicken nuggets, oddly, stay chicken nuggets for an unusually long time on the counter. Even the French fries. When you find one,
well, really,
later,
what's in the French fries going to get? I guess a potato could get bad.
No, I feel like there's just so many preservatives. They don't.
It's been cooked. Yeah. All right, this conversation definitely going downhill.
Absolutely, we'll walk over and get a hot dog. See, that's another thing about the West End. We can walk. We can get hot dogs. We can go to the beach house. They have. I thought it's the juice. I was like, what do we need juice? It says grill, sunglasses. No, but I think just having the talk and being real and letting people know we're just real people, just like them. We didn't wake up this morning to ruin their day. We woke up, we love our jobs, and we just want to be good servants.
And eating our 6-year-old chicken nuggets, and we're still okay.
I don't have 6-year-old chicken nuggets in my car. You can ask anyone. It's not totally clean, but there's no food in the cracks anywhere. Fortunately for
little kids are gone, that's why.
Well, that and I have a dog.
There you go. All right, well, it's good.